Bloomberg. I'm an editor of German News Online. I used to work as an editor for the Union of Catholic Asian News, and it was there that I was exposed to different cultures, different nationalities in one workplace. I had office mates who were Americans, Germans, Italians, and Asians as well.
Good afternoon po, ma'am. Did you ever experience some discrimination in your workplace? Some example, harassment or some, as a girl, as a woman, there's some racism between men and women. Do you experience something like that?
By racial discrimination, you mean it's a form of discrimination between races. So gender discrimination is different from racial discrimination.
Yes.
So first, let's talk about racial discrimination. I experienced that only once when I was in Hong Kong, and then at the immigration I was grilled by the immigration officer because in my passport it was indicated that I was a journalist, and then he threw away all of my clothes and all of my papers on the floor, and everybody was looking at me. And also it also had something to do with my race, because a day before there was a Filipina who was caught for bringing illegal drugs into Hong Kong. So they were very strict when it comes to Filipinos in general at that time.
Ma'am, what was your reaction when the immigration officer did that to you?
I just kept quiet because I knew that I was in a foreign place and I was alone, so I just cooperated with him. It took me more than an hour to complete that process.
How about gender discrimination?
Gender discrimination.
Experience?
In all of my work, so far, I've not experienced that form of discrimination, because in the media, people are used to men and women are used to working with each other.
I just would like to ask if, with that situation, how did you feel? Did you feel embarrassed or frustrated? Or
Yes, I felt embarrassed because all of my clothes were lying on the floor. Even my personal things were all exposed. And then people were passing by and looking at me. So I felt like a criminal, even though I was just there for something legal. It was for a conference.
So, ma'am, with that experience, can you give us any advice or tips so that experience like that would be minimized or not happen, avoid?
We can't predict if something like that would happen to us, but it would always be good to be prepared. We can, for example, we can expect to face some discrimination whenever we go to other countries. Because in general, our cultures vary from theirs, so we have to respect their culture when we go there. For example, I didn't know that there was a Filipina who was caught bringing in illegal drugs the day before, but it was good that I didn't react negatively. Otherwise, the process would have taken longer, much longer. And then, for example, I had one office mate. He was a guy, a Filipino guy, who also went to Hong Kong. And then he experienced a worse situation because he was asked to strip down because he was also suspected of bringing something illegal into Hong Kong. So at least I didn't experience that.
Don't you think that they're overreacting because we're Filipino with the that situation?
I don't know if you can call it overreacting, but then, as you know, there are so many Filipinos who are bringing in illegal drugs into China and Hong Kong, so maybe they've had bad experiences with some Filipinos before. I think there are over 200 Filipinos who are now in jails in China because of bringing illegal drugs. So we can understand their situation also.
You said that you work in Asian.
Union of Catholic Asians.
Yes. What are you doing? What's your work in?
I was a deputy editor.
So you're working with lots of people, foreigners. So how do you handle different kinds of people? With your, because we have different cultures with them. So how did you handle them?
Usually, I'm not a very, what do you call it, antagonistic type of person who will act rudely towards others. So maybe it helped me also that I was friendly to them. For example, I didn't know that in some cultures there were some do's and don'ts. For example, you were not supposed to criticize Thai in front of a Thai. They don't like that. Among us Filipinos, it's okay if you criticize your fellow man, but in Thailand, you don't do that because they will be offended if you criticize their fellow man. They're very defensive of their fellow man.
How about while working here as a boss, the experience that your subordinates have misunderstanding about cultures or beliefs?
So far here, there's none because, as I said, the major is a different environment. People are more open to people of different beliefs and cultures, like that. And people of different genders.
So, did you ever experience that when you get promoted or something, they questioned you as a woman, your abilities?
Not really, because in fact, in the media, they like women editors because women editors tend to be more conscientious when it comes to editing. So, then women tend to easily accept when there are different tasks given to you. Don't you should complain. So I think the media likes that.
Going back to the you're working abroad, right? I would just like to ask if did you experience like you did something and you didn't do it purpose. You just like do it and there's no meaning for it. But what happened is your coworkers took it personally or it's bad for them.
I remember during our discussions, because our boss was an American, so at times I debated with him, and then the others were Asian, and then they were shocked that I was debating with our boss. But then, actually, our American boss liked that. He appreciates it because of their culture. They appreciate people who are open to them. But the Asians are not. They were shocked that I was openly debating with our boss, and then after work, we would be open, we would be joking, we would be friendly. But then they learned that that's what our boss likes.
So, ma'am, with regards to the salaries and benefits, are you receiving your right salaries and benefits, or there come times that you have a job and others receiving more than you?
Actually, I've been fortunate to have worked for companies that are very open. I received the salary that I'm entitled to based on my position in the office. we have a handbook, and then so I know the range of the salary. So in general, I've been receiving the salary that I'm entitled to.
So, in your work here, do you think that there are when workers are hired, there is a favorable school? Say, for example, they choose the applicant from this school over the other school, like that.
Actually, here we have people who come from different schools, but majority are from what we consider in the Philippines as the top 3 schools, UP, Lasal, and Ateneo. But you also have people from UST, Adamson, BUP. So I think it's about the skill and the experience of a person and not just his or her school.
How about ma'am, as a Filipino, could you give us an advice on how to adjust to the other culture?
For example, if you're going to another country, you have to be prepared. You have to read on that country first. You have to know their culture. For example, if you're going to Thailand, maybe you have a Thai friend here. You can ask about the culture. What are the do's and don'ts? For example, when I went there, I didn't know that foreigners weren't allowed to wear slippers in public places. All foreigners have to wear shoes and shirts with collars. Those are rules for foreigners. So you have to be prepared when you go to a country. You have to know its culture. You have to ask around and be prepared so that you won't commit any embarrassment.
One last question. As a professional, what are your secrets or techniques so that we could be professional like you?
To avoid some discrimination or cultural differences around the workplace.
You just have to respect everyone, whatever their gender is or whatever their nationality is. You just have to respect everyone.
So thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
for giving us
The
time.
opportunity.
May pasalubong.
Say hi to ma'am. Ma'am, hello.
Ma'am, tres lang.
Ma'am,